Hello, you mad modelers, and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to start episode 1 of a quarter scale Mick Reeves Sopwith Camel. The picture you see in front of you is the basic frame that's been built up with the aluminum cowl sitting on it. Here you see the tail skid assembly. It is mounted on some brass tube that has been soldered together as a sub-assembly and then attached to the tail end of the frame. Okay, this is the landing gear assembly. This is not per the kit. This was all fabricated out of steel automotive brake line tubing. It's pretty resilient and it's been silver soldered together. Now you see the landing gear assembly fared out with balsa wood. There was several different ways that they built the landing gear on the real Sopwith Camel. Some of it was steel tubing, some of it was wood. It really depended on when those materials were available for that airplane and how they built the plane to begin with. If they didn't have those particular materials, they substituted something else. So there's really no standard way that these planes were built. Here, the landing gear has been mounted to the airframe. None of it has been wrapped or covered with any kind of silk or fabric yet. The shock cords have been added. This is just to get things lined up. Okay, at this point, some of the fuselage has been sheeted with 1/16 inch plywood. The inside has been stained. My finger is pointing at the center of gravity on this fuselage so you can see how short that nose is and why most of the weight needs to be right behind the firewall. Okay, this is the buildup of the cockpit. The entire cockpit is scratch built on this aircraft. The supplied stuff in the kit just really didn't measure up to what I wanted to do. So here you can see the control stick in the middle and the rudder pedals, or the rudder tiller bar. You can also see some bamboo X braces on the sides. Those will later on get replaced with wire and turnbuckles as per the full-size aircraft. Here you see the bottom of the rudder tiller bar and the back side of the firewall. Notice the 3 servos that are mounted just behind the firewall. The one servo in the middle will operate the elevator. The one to the left operates the rudder tiller bar, and the one to the right will be connected to the ailerons. By the way, those controls will be running or operating the controls inside the cockpit, which will also be connected to the control surfaces themselves. Okay, amongst the messy building table, you can see the mock-up of the tail surfaces, the fuselage, which has now been covered with SIG coverall, and the beginning of an instrument panel. Okay, I forgot when I started this project to take any pictures of the tail section, elevator, rudder, vertical fin, and horizontal stabilizer as I was building it. So I'm using this top wing center section as an example of how the tail section was built. The trailing edge of all flying surfaces on this model use a wire. It's really makes for a really good trailing edge. The rest of it is traditionally built up out of balsa and ply. The hinging surfaces, however, on the tail surfaces are 2 dowels that are side by side, and the elevator will roll or pivot on one of the dowels with a bushing that was soldered together. Here's another view of the tail surfaces minus the vertical fin and the rudder. You can see again the hinges and the dowels at the hinge line. Okay, here we see the elevator control cables, the upper elevator control cables, coming out near the top of the fuselage through a brass fair lead. Just under that, you can see a line that is the stitching that stitches the fabric together from the top and the bottom. This is the way it came out of the factory on the real aircraft. It was meant to be taken down. You could unstitch the side of the fuselage and tighten up all of the rigging inside the fuselage as it relaxed. So that later on, after things out in the field, when the aircraft was maintained, that nice straight stitching usually turned out to be a zigzag. So anyway, I'm going to leave this segment as it is. The next segment, I will probably get into the strut mounts and how I fabricated them. So you guys have a good day.